What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be comparing the RF 15 to 35 f2.8 image stabilized versus the EF 16 to 35 f4 image stabilized. Gonna need a big drink of water before I get into this. Feeling a little bit sick. Not that kind of sick, all right? Just a little phlegmy, a little cold. You know how it is. All right, so I'm comparing these two lenses because I actually just upgraded to the RF 15 to 35 over my 16 to 35 f4. I wanted to see how the f4 actually stacks up to this new RF lens and if there's a major difference or if maybe there's not that much of a difference at all. Maybe you're just paying because it's on the R system. Another reason why I thought this would be a pretty good comparison is because these are the only two wide angle lenses that have image stabilization. So some people actually might be considering our little EF version here. Well, not so little with the adapter, but some people might be considering this because it's more of a budget option and it offers image stabilization. Albeit it is f4, not f2.8, but you know, with the wide angle, it's not that much of a difference. All right, so we're gonna play a little guessing game. You have to decide what clips are from what lens. So we'll see how you do. You ready? Camera A was the RF 15 to 35 and camera B was the EF 16 to 35 f4. Was there a difference? Could you tell? So right off the bat, some of you probably already noticed the IBIS wobble with the 15 to 35, whereas the 16 to 35, I don't see any of that wobble. So that's kind of a plus for the 16 to 35. So some of you might have noticed right away, oh, that's the RF 15 to 35 because you got that wobble. I'm pairing it with the R6 and the R6 has IBIS. So you'll get that wobble effect with the R6 and the R5 cameras. If you were to match this lens with the EOS-R or the RP, you're not gonna experience any of that crazy IBIS wobble. Although you can just kind of zoom in a little bit and I think that'll get rid of the wobble effect. So one of the advantages with the RF lens is you can stop down to f2.8, whereas the EF lens, you can obviously only go down to f4. So you're gonna get better low light performance in this lens. You're gonna get a bit more background blur, albeit, like I said before, the difference between f4 and f2.8 at like 16 or 15 mil, you're not gonna see that much of a difference. You're gonna see a difference, but not that much of a difference. With the RF lens, you're gonna get that little bit of wider angle being at 15 millimeter instead of 16, which is quite nice, especially if you're using something like the R6 and you're filming in 4K where it has a slight crop. Having that little bit of extra focal length really does help out a lot. So I did an image stabilization test with both these lenses and I was pleasantly surprised to see that both of them did really well, but the RF lens just seemed really, really smooth. I don't know, for some reason, I didn't have that much of a hard time getting nice smooth shots with the RF lens where I had to try a bit harder with the EF lens. I could have sworn sometimes with this RF lens that it almost looked like I was using a gimbal. Pairing the lens stabilization with the IBIS, it worked pretty well. I'm actually really surprised. So with the EF lens, the zoom function is all internal, whereas the RF lens, it actually is an external zoom. It doesn't come out very far, but it does come out. It's a bit opposite though. You actually zoom out to hit 15 millimeters and then zoom back in to be at 35 millimeters. So if you're at 15 millimeters, it's gonna pop out a little bit. So how do both of these lenses feel in the hand? Personally, I prefer the RF lens because it feels nice and thick and chunky and I don't know, I like the feel of it. Whereas this one's a little bit skinny and I still like the feeling of it. I just realized this is sounding kind of weird. I'm gonna just move on. I like the RF lens, how it feels. One thing that kind of bugged me about the EF lens is the autofocus is a bit noisy, whereas the RF lens, I haven't really noticed it actually. I haven't taken any notice to the autofocus noise in the RF lens. This one is just obviously noticeable. So you may pick it up in some videos, like if you have a shotgun mic on top of this lens, you may hear the focus adjusting and it can be a bit annoying. That being said, I mean, I filmed 99% of my channel on this and you can't really tell any autofocus noises. So it's not that bad. It's just, it can be annoying in some cases. So a negative to the RF lens is it is so expensive. It's an expensive lens, whereas this one is substantially cheaper and it still holds up really, really nicely to this RF lens. Albeit, yes, it is f4, but hey, this is a really great lens. And if you don't have the budget for the RF lens, I would highly recommend this lens if you're looking for image stabilization, or you can go with another EF counterpart like the f2.8 Mark II or Mark III. This lens still produces an amazing image, so I definitely highly recommend this lens for anybody that's trying to find a nice, affordable, wide-angle lens in the 16 to 35 department. If you have the budget for the RF 15 to 35, obviously I would recommend getting this lens, but that's only if you have the budget. I know it's a really expensive lens, and if you see my last video, I sold all my lenses to get this lens, and actually I'm currently selling this lens. If you're interested, you live in Perth, selling it, sell it for a good price, so hit me up. Going a bit delusional here. Ugh. All right guys, if you liked the video, consider hitting that like button and consider smashing that subscribe button. This whole YouTube thing's really funny. I'm going a bit delusional. Okay, I'm just gonna end it here. I got nothing more to say. Love y'all, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. That was a bit weird. See ya. Bye. How do I'm just gonna stop. Okay, bye.